You're listening to Football, Philosophy, and Rocket Science, a Cleveland Browns podcast, a show where a philosopher and a rocket scientist try to make sense of the Cleveland Browns. The Football, Philosophy, and Rocket Science podcast is a part of the Fanatical Elves Podcast Network, a part of the Fans First Sports Network. Here are your hosts, Elliot Kennel and Joel Cade.
Hi, I'm Elliot. He's Joel. And
Howdy.
This is the 5th of July. We're one day removed from the 4th of July. How did your 4th of July go, Joel?
I went pretty good because I still have my hands.
Excellent. Okay. Well, maybe that's the problem that they have over in Pittsburgh.
They don't have any hands?
Well, they have a quarterback that has small hands, and so it's very important that they handle their fireworks with great caution over there, I think. So,
especially there. But it is
Kenny
good
Pickett
to
needs
know.
be careful.
That's true. It is good to know that as far as of the news of right now, no Cleveland Browns lost their hands to fireworks.
Nobody got arrested. That's very important.
Well, I don't know. We'll hear about the arrests in a couple days, but the fireworks stuff, that would happen immediately.
Well, okay. Yeah, that's true. But so far, we have not had any really bad off-season news. So
Knock on wood.
We're appreciative of that. We hope everybody's behaving themselves and doing kind of normal things, not getting injured, and staying on the proper side of the law. That's very important. Good conduct is very important. We don't want to have off the field injuries. That's really the most important news that we could have is no news.
Exactly.
So we're happy about that. So 4th of July is great. It's a great country. It's still the greatest country in the world, despite our problems. And I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to celebrate with friends and family. So happy 4th of July, everyone, belatedly one day. Okay. Well, let's get into some discussion. I have some fan mail that I'd like to read.
Fan mail.
Yeah, fan mail.
By the way, before you get to the fan mail, I would like to say to our listeners, did you know you could get your comment read on the air? Yes, your comment. All you have to do is DM me, or you could DM Elliot, me at the left guard, or Elliot at has hit it. Elliot, what's your Twitter handle?
At TH Village Elliot, not the Village Elliot, but TH Village Elliot. And
awesome.
Yeah, there's other ways to get in touch with me as well.
You can email me at, the email address would be theleftguard@gmail.com. So hit me up, DM me, email me, let me know. Let's check this out. Let's get your comment on the air. All right. Go ahead, Elliot. What do we got fan comment-wise today?
Yeah, we have some things. There was an article I wrote the other day about the lack of depth in the running back room for the Cleveland Browns. It starts out pretty good. They have Nick Chubb, who I think is the best overall running back in the NFL. I'd like to see the Browns use his pass catching ability a little better. Mm-hmm. We know that he can run with the football, and he gets great yardage. The Browns have a superior offensive line, and what can you say? We have been reluctant to throw at him for whatever reason. I think a lot of it happened in the Baker period, and they're starting to use him more with Deshaun Watson. And I think this year we're going to see even more of that because Deshaun Watson is a guy that likes to throw the ball to running backs. So I'm thrilled about that. But what happens when you have to have your number 2, your number 3, or your number 4 running back? Well, we actually really don't have one that's proven. We're looking at Jerome Ford, hoping that he's pretty good, but he's only got 12 yards from scrimmage.
Let me talk about Jerome Ford for a second.
Yeah.
People come into the NFL, and I know Jerome Ford is not a rookie, but people come into the NFL as rookies all the time. 5th, 6th, 7th round draft picks as running backs and succeed. It happens all the time. So he may not have a lot of carries, not have a lot of experience, but that doesn't mean he's not going to succeed. It just means he's a question mark.
Mm-hmm. No, it does happen all the time, but it does not happen every time.
Right.
And last season, Kareem Hunt did not have a particularly good season, but the coaches still saw fit to play Kareem Hunt and to not play Jerome Ford. And so, their judgment is that Jerome Ford wasn't better than Hunt. So I don't know, maybe they were wrong. Maybe Jerome Ford is going to be a really good runner, but you like to have the cliche that, my number 2 running back would be a starter for many teams in the NFL. And we don't really have that situation at the moment.
Well, we don't. I would say we just don't know.
We're filled with hope.
He could be. We just haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, my minister says to come to church every Sunday to find hope. And so I'm praying that Jerome Ford will turn out to be an excellent running back. I have hope, but I don't have faith.
Well, isn't hope faith in the things not seen?
It's getting there. But,
we can have faith in Jerome Ford not seen.
I have confidence that he will get more than 12 yards this season, but 12 yards doth not a running back room make.
Okay. So go to the third one. Go to the third running back.
All right, let's read some of
it. I have opinions on third running back.
Let's talk about this stuff. All right. So people, of course, criticized this, brilliant article that I wrote. It was just absolutely incisive in its comments. It said that, look, Chubb is the number 1 guy, but number 2, 3, and 4 haven't been established. And even if you have a number 2 running back, you still want to have 4, not just 1. Okay, can everybody count to 4? And does everybody read the article or do they comment on the title? Okay, and John Adams writes, if Watson is close to his old self, Chubb will have even more success. Well, okay. And I write back because I'm a smart aleck. John, if you read the article, I'm not worried about Chubb. It's RB2, RB3, and RB4 that I feel need to prove themselves. 41 total career yards in the NFL. Okay, that's the sum total of everybody we've got on the roster not named Nick Chubb. There's 41 career yards on the roster right now. That seems a little short of world class to me. Just a little bit short. 41 career yards. Okay. The Browns were 6th in the NFL with Hunt last season. That's with Hunt. I think he had close to 600 yards from scrimmage total. And the rushing component of that amounted to 6th in the NFL, with Hunt being very close to leading the NFL in rushing. Without Hunt, it's not clear why we'd expect a huge improvement. Why does that make us think that we're going to be hugely improved just because Hunt has left the team? I don't quite get that part. And all right, so then people argue with me, well, Hunt, I averaged 3.8 yards per carry last year. They can easily replace that. And I point out, okay, Hunt also had 35 pass receptions, carried the ball in short yardage, fumbled only 1 time. Does anybody care about fumbles? I do. Fumbling only once is a pretty good stat. Anyway, the Browns have to find someone who can play at a higher level if they want to say they are top 5. 3.8 yards per carry does not make for an elite running back room. You have to be better than Kareem Hunt, not just replace Kareem Hunt. Getting a back that gets 3.8 yards per carry does not make you elite. That just makes you, it makes you 6th in the NFL if Nick Chubb stays healthy.
Let me throw a monkey wrench into this, Elliot.
Go ahead, throw that monkey wrench.
What if Elijah Moore was the 3rd running back and not anybody else? Okay, Elijah Moore, right? He's lined up in the backfield as a running back. The offense they're going to has a lot of people who has that gadget player that can line up in the slot, line up in the running back. Heck, we drafted Demetric Felton, who played this offense at UCLA, who was that player that was running back, wide receiver, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Elijah Moore is that player. Elijah Moore can be the third running back. He can pick up your receptions out of the backfield. He can run the ball. He ran the ball. He has run the ball 6 times in his career, which is not much. Okay. But he's averaging 10 yards a carry.
Oh, I think the jet sweep is a very important weapon. If they respect the run, and they can get fooled.
Right. But
you know,
Elijah Moore has lined up in the running back position during camp. We've heard reports of this.
mhm.
So he could be a
Yeah.
running back, much like Cordarrelle Patterson was playing that role. Guys from Kansas City, I can't think of his name. He was the current one doing that in Kansas City,
Mhm.
played that role.
Well,
Curtis Samuel played that role.
filled with hope. I have hope. I have hope. And in fact, we've had this discussion before. I've noted that Elijah Moore is not the mad bomber. He's been throwing the ball a lot with very short passes, running back type passes. If you look at what he's actually caught most of the time, I think that's not a bad concept. That maybe we'll see him in the backfield, and that's not out of the question. And that might be a kind of thing that would help him a lot if he lines up in the backfield. And
Yeah, he could be running back 3.
Easy
back
to,
2.
I don't know how big he is. How much does he weigh? In fact, can we Google that?
Well, I don't think we're talking so much about having him there as a consistent, like, line him up and give him 20 carries.
Not 20 carries.
Yeah, we're talking about maybe a
5.
carry or 2, right? A carry or 2, but his job would be to receive out of the backfield. He would also be there to create mismatches. So if he starts out at the slot, then comes into the running back spot, then you're creating coverage issues for the
he's
defense.
5'10", 181 pounds. So
yes, you're not doing a whole lot of
you're not going to
outside zone with him out of the backfield.
You're not going to have him do the 1 yard plunge thing.
Right. That seems to be something Jerome Ford should be able to do.
Jerome Ford, yes, I think you do send him up the middle.
Yeah.
I think Jerome Ford, you do believe that he can do everything that Kareem Hunt could do, or you give him that opportunity, and we'll find out. We'll find out about Mr. Ford, and we have hope that he will turn out to be a complete NFL running back. There's a four down running back. By 4 down, I mean we give it to him on 4th and 1. Yeah.
Yeah. 5'10", 210 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he should be able to, with a running start, he should be able to run in there and get us a yard.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And he's not going to be the mismatch guy. The mismatch guy is going to be Elijah Moore.
Yeah, it's not crazy, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see how these things pan out. As it's different, but it's not crazy.
Right? Do you have any more juicy comments?
Well, let's see. This person will be anonymous, but he simply answers. I'm very proud of this, by the way. He answers, "Hey, dude, what?" Or WTF, which I don't know what that stands for, but I assume it means, "Wow, that's fantastic." So thank you very much for the compliment. I'm just absolutely bursting with pride.
WTF, Elliot. WTF.
Yeah, I think it's just wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Appreciate journalism at its best. So thank you.
There's some believers out there.
Yeah, that's really just great. Okay, well, let's move on.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the proverbial commercial break here.
Oh, okay. Let's do a commercial break, and then we'll talk about comparing the Cincinnati Bengals defense to the Browns defense.
Yeah, so can hit up on the break, and after the break, we're going to come back and check out the Bengals defensive preview, along with our continuing series where we've already looked at the Ravens, the Steelers. Now we're going to look at the Bengals. So that's after the break. So hang on.
Okay, back. I bet we sold lots of products, probably cars and razor blades, hair tonic.
See, I was going for the razor blades. Like, I bet we're selling razor blades.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, if you
Excellent.
listen to this show, they're probably selling antidepressants.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, yeah, can we do the share thing?
Sure. Here we go.
Okay, let's do that. Let me see if I can.
We take this down.
Let me see if I can make this a larger picture and even.
So Elliot is coming up with a PowerPoint here, like only Elliot can, looking at the Bengals defense, much like we looked at the other defenses.
Okay, hooray. And yeah, what are the kiddies doing? You know, it's very funny, but just like Baltimore, the Bengals have lost a lot of personnel in the defensive backfield. And in fact, the Bengals have lost even more if you look at not only who they lost, but how the free market valued them. Look at the safeties. Jesse Bates, just an absolute hero at safety. $64
A lot of people
million.
wanted him.
That's incredible. $31 million guaranteed. You know, really, you have to look at the guaranteed money to see how they're truly valued.
Mhm.
But he's getting a ton of money. That's $16 million a year. And oddly, Von Bell gets about the same amount of money, almost exactly $64 million. He gets even more guaranteed. So I don't know who gets bragging rights in that. Jesse Bates actually gets a little bit larger contract, but Von Bell gets more guaranteed. So I think I'm going with Von Bell as getting the most value in his deal. It's just really incredible. I had no idea that they would get that much money. I think that's just really amazing.
I think playing for a winning football team does a lot for you when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's true.
That's the Joe Burrow bump right there.
And they, yes, winning helps certainly, but we knew that they were very, very good football players for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing in a very, very good secondary, and that helps playing with great teammates as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Trey Flowers, not to be confused, there's also a Trey Flowers who is a defensive lineman. And so if that name seems familiar, this is not the same guy, but nevertheless, there's a Trey Flowers who's a cornerback who got a contract for a minor amount of money. And he's good enough to get playing time. And another cornerback is Eli Apple, who played 94% of the defensive snaps for the Bengals. So Bates, Bell, and Apple were 3 full-time starters for the Bengals, and they're gone. They are gone. I suppose there's some theoretical possibility that Apple could re-sign with the Bengals, but they probably should sign somebody if they can.
Mm-hmm.
So who did they sign to replace these guys? Well, they signed a safety, Nick Scott, who's a starter, but not an impact player. He signed for 3 years, $12 million, $7 million of which is guaranteed. So that's kind of a journeyman's salary, not a star salary.
Right.
Similarly, that is a mistake. Excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Patrick Peterson is
that's a mistake. That's
with
left
the
over from
Steelers.
the Steelers. Sorry. Let's just take this down. This is just wrong. What they're doing is replacing the defense through the draft.
Mm-hmm. Getting younger, cheaper.
They're getting younger, cheaper defensive end Miles Murphy from Clemson. That's good. They're getting DJ Turner, who's the fastest cornerback in the draft with a 4.26 time. He's not very big. He's small, very, very fast. Safety Jordan Battle from Alabama. I'm not real sure I like this pick. And the reason is because the Bama secondary was really problematic all year long. But nevertheless, he's a third-round pick. Bama is pretty much hard currency. And then there's a seventh-round guy, DJ Ivy, that I think is actually very intriguing. I don't know what was wrong with his scouting report, but I do know that he's a 4.4 guy. That's good. And then his vertical is 39 inches, which is getting close to superhuman range. This is.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Can he play football?
That I don't know. But, this is kind of where you go if you're ready to star in Marvel Comics as a superhero. 39-inch vertical is pretty amazing.
Captain America coming out here.
Yeah, so I apologize for this mistake over here on who the Kitties signed. That's just totally a mistake. But the point is, they didn't sign very many guys on defense. They invested instead on offense. Okay, so we can stop sharing this. And see, is it gone?
It's gone.
Okay.
So that seems to be the trend here. Between the Ravens and the Bengals, investing in offense. Those two teams clearly must think they have their quarterback, and that their quarterback is going to be driven or driving this team to victories.
Well, okay. What they did do is they made a massive investment in the offensive line, and we cannot blame them because they've had an unusual amount of injuries. And 2 years in a row, they wound up having to play backups at playoff time, and particularly for the AFC Championship this year, and or 2022. And then the year previous, they showed up for the Super Bowl, and they had backups, and that really cost them the Super Bowl probably. So that was just bad. And they had good players, but they had multiple injuries on the offensive line. And so what do? They signed Orlando Brown Jr. To be a starting left tackle. And remember, when he left Baltimore, he was fixated on being a left tackle, not a right tackle. He had to be the left tackle. And otherwise, he was going to be nutsoidal about that. And that's
because he wanted paid. Left tackles get paid much better than right tackles.
Okay, but what if they paid him the same amount of money and said, "We'll pay you the contract, just be the right tackle for us because we think you're really good there." But no, I have to be the left tackle. It's just crazy.
He's a big guy. That's what he's got going for him.
Yeah, he's 6'8",
big.
And I don't know that he weighs that much. He's kind of skinny. And in fact, I was going to ask about that. They did make this huge investment in the offensive line in the form of Orlando Brown. 4 years, $64.1 million, the same as Jesse Bates and Von Bell. But who did he play for? He played for Baltimore.
Right.
And then he played Lamar Jackson is not easy to sack. Probably the hardest guy to sack in the NFL. And then I would say that Patrick Mahomes is probably top 5 in elusiveness. He, too, is hard to sack. Plus, he tends to get rid of the ball rather quickly. And so that's another thing that makes it tough for him to be sacked. And
he's a 6'7" and 7'8", so basically 6'8", weighs 345 pounds. But you're carrying 345 differently on a 6'8" frame.
340 pounds?
Yeah, you're carrying that differently on a 6'8" frame as opposed to a 6'4" frame.
Okay, I didn't realize he was that heavy.
Yeah, but traditionally his game is to take a couple steps back and just lean on somebody.
Yeah, okay.
And then he's so
Well,
hard to get
yeah.
around, he can get his hands on you somehow.
We can say this, that Orlando Brown Jr. is not fat. He is not fat at all. If you look at him, if there's such a thing as a 344-pound skinny guy, it is Orlando Brown Jr. He's just really big, tall. But I'm not sure that he's really that fantastic of a pass protector.
Yeah, he's not a technician. This is kind of what I was getting at.
There you go.
He's not a technician. He is a big dude that gets his hands on you. That's what he does. And if he can't get his hands on you, he's not real nimble to go catch you, or doesn't have a lot of hand techniques to fight off your hand techniques. His goal is to step back and grab you.
And that what the Bengals really want is to protect Joe Burrow. And what Orlando Brown
if you're okay
Jr.
with holding calls, you're golden. Line up, hold Myles Garrett, and then we'll be fine.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think that Orlando Brown Jr. is probably one of the best right tackles in the NFL, and he's playing out of position at left tackle. I kind of think. I'm not sure.
Okay. So we can get into this because I agree with you. I'm not sure he's out of position. I just think left tackle is not his strength. His strength, he could be, in my opinion, a Hall of Fame right tackle.
There you go.
He could just line up and just maul people. And when you run block, right, you're firing out and you're grabbing, and you're always going to get those hands on. So he could come out and he could be a tremendous right tackle, which is why Baltimore put him there, so they could run the football and make that center point of their game. So he made sense in Baltimore. Okay. Then he says, well, I don't want to be a right tackle. I don't want to be this run mauler guy. I want to be a pass protector. Well, that's not his strength.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's not good at it. I'm just saying it's not what he's best at.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he, he has the quickness and speed. We'll see how he does against Myles Garrett. But, Myles Garrett is coming fast and hard, and I think he gets around Orlando Brown Jr. That's what I think.
Well, the question is, can he get around him?
He had to block anybody like Myles Garrett, and that if he did, Mahomes can run away from him and unload the pass before he gets there. But I think that Burrow wants to stay in the pocket, and it may be tougher to pass block for Burrow compared to Mahomes. That's what I think.
Well, I think you may be correct. Burrow is athletic, although he's had a knee surgery, a bad one. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think the gamble is, well, one, we're desperate. We need a good left tackle because our options haven't worked so far. And two, by us, I mean the Bengals. And two, the guy, Orlando Brown Jr. is so big and Burrow gets rid of the ball quick that the best chance here is that he can just grab somebody, or it takes too long. He'll be coming around the mountain when he comes, to get around the mountain of Orlando Brown Jr. and won't be able to get to Burrow on time. That's the hope. I think the desperation factor is the biggest part of this.
Let me tell you some other idiosyncrasy about the Bengals that I don't really understand is that they run the spread formation, and they always line up Burrow about 7 yards from the center. They have him a little closer to the line of scrimmage than other teams, and they don't put him any further back. And so he really he's more susceptible, I think, to getting caught than other quarterbacks. It's not like he has a weak arm. Why don't they post him 12 yards back instead of 7?
I've never really seen a number on like how far back a quarterback normally stands on a shotgun formation. That's interesting. You're catching me a little bit off guard here.
Well,
okay. So shotgun formation puts the quarterback 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So I think he might be in the right spot.
It's the spot that the Bengals always use, no matter how badly the line is doing. They don't have an adjustment. They don't put him any further back than happens.
So the 7 yards, from what I'm reading, is just the standard behind the center. Okay. if you get past 7 yards, let's say you get like 9, 12, or so, there's a number. All of a sudden, formation rules change because it's considered a punt formation. So I don't know if you can put him back further than 7.
Well, I don't know. I think I believe other teams do snap the ball further back. But
they might. I don't know if they do. I could see Jacksonville doing this. Okay, because Trevor Lawrence, that guy, he hates pressure. Somebody pressures him, he's bailing. He's like Baker Mayfield. As soon as pressure shows up, he's bailing to the right. And like I was telling my son last year in the playoffs, Jacksonville's going nowhere in the playoffs. All you got to do is pressure him and make sure you have some trash collector like T.J. Watt out there to chase him down. That's all you got to do. Pressure him, watch him spill to the right, go tackle him. This is what Alabama did to Johnny Manziel in college football too. Anyway, so Elliot, we're up on it. So,
all right.
Any final comments?
Well, I do have some final comments. Is that I think we liked the Steelers on defense, not overall, but on defense, we think the Steelers have a really pretty good team. We like the Browns. They could easily be number 1 on defense, although we think that they are not experienced as a team, as a unit, and with a new defensive coordinator.
Right.
So maybe we like Steelers number 1, maybe the Browns a close number 2. The Bengals, we see them with a new secondary, losing great talent. We think, although they were very good last season, we see them slipping to maybe number 3. And the Baltimore Ravens, very similar story where they were actually the best team as far as giving up points in 2022. They really have not replaced players that they've lost, and they've lost a lot this season because they've chosen to go with wide receiver investments.
Yeah, and I think that their new offense, there are going to be some more interceptions. That offense is known for throwing interceptions to start with. And then you put Lamar Jackson in there, who's not used to throwing the ball down the field on the sidelines. It should be interesting.
There's going to be a lot of points scored in Baltimore, but I think it's going to go both ways.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a shootout every game down there.
Yes.
Over there. So.
It'll be exciting. It'll be
not necessarily in a good way for Baltimore fans, but for us, it'll be fun to see. Come on, they can do it. Get the comeback.
That's what we see. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well,
right.
Tune in next week for another episode of Football, Philosophy, and Rocket Science. Elliot's the genius who handles it all. Elliot.
Thank you for listening to Football, Philosophy, and Rocket Science, a Cleveland Browns podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell all your friends to give a listen. You can follow Joel on Twitter at The Left Guard and Elliot at The Village Elliot.